Okay, continuing what, of course, continuing my labor story. Like I said, we went upstairs and laid in bed. That was at like 5 o'clock in the morning. At around 9, my first contractions that were 5 minutes apart happened. And Billy was ecstatic. He's like, we have to go to the doctor. I was like, no, just wait, see if I have more, so we know for sure that they're 5 minutes apart. So, a couple, contractions later, I was like, okay, we need to call the doctor. My doctor was in a meeting till 9:45, so I had to wait till she got out of her meeting. Called again. And she's like, you need to come in so I can check and see how far you're dilated. So I was like, okay. Went in, and I was 2.5 centimeters dilated, and still 90% face. Oh, here she comes. Where are you going? You on the move? So she was like, instead of torching you, waiting for you to be 3 centimeters dilated, we're just going to admit you now. This was at 10:11, I think. So I walked to the office where I had to be admitted. She's watching Blue's Clues on Netflix. Yeah. Walked, got admitted. Walked to the elevator to go up to the 3rd floor, and of course, one of my friends that worked at the hospital was right there. So I was like, it's cold in here. I was like, can't talk now, gotta go. So, got in my room, got all hooked up to the monitors, let everybody know that I am in the hospital and we're ready to have this baby. Everybody showed up. There was like 11 or 12 people in my room, which my room was the room where you could deliver and then stay in there after the baby was born. So it was a pretty big room. And, yep, no, wait. So basically everyone just sat there and watched me be in pain. At 5.5 centimeters, I was 5 centimeters long. Took one of those jacuzzi bath things to relax. Well, try to relax. Got out. Half an hour later, I was 5.5 centimeters dilated, and they asked me if I wanted any pain medication. They were intense pains, and I think I was having back labor, so it was intense. Like, ugh, that was horrible. So I was like, yes, please. And I don't remember what it was called, but it made you feel like you were floating. And they're like, don't worry, it'll help a lot, and it'll make you feel like you're hovering. And I was like, okay, whatever. Just give me something that'll help. So they put it in my hand IV, and at first, when it first got in my system, it kind of worked a little, like it took the edge off of it. Like, my contractions were going off the charts, and they were lasting for like 2 minutes, and they were like 45 seconds apart. So like it took the very like edge off, but it was still intense. And just after 15-20 minutes of having this medication, like it just stopped. I was still in so much pain. So she came back in like an hour and a half later, and I was 7 centimeters dilated. And at this time, like, I'm in tears because I can't take it anymore. And I'm like, I want an epidural. Somebody please get the person to give me this medication. So the guy came in and no one had to be in the room. So like it was me and this nurse and the guy that was doing my epidural. And of course, like the first time he was like pricked me, I jumped. Well, I didn't jump. I like moved my back. He's like, oh, gotta do it again. Like the initial like pain of the epidural is worth what it does. So I recommend it. Like, if you want to have a natural birth, good for you, because I wanted to have a natural birth. But I knew that my body wasn't going to handle it, so I got the epidural. And it was amazing. I laid there for like 45 minutes, no pain. Of course, I couldn't feel anything, but it was amazing. Like, I was doped up, I was cracking jokes, I was hilarious. Everybody was laughing. And then, all of a sudden, I got this horrible, like, pressure on my back. And the nurse told me, oh, here she comes again. The nurse told me, if you feel, like, rectal pressure, it means it's time to push. I wasn't getting any rectal pressure. It was all in my very lower back. Like, I have 2, like, knots the size of golf balls on the bottom of my back. And, I was like, somebody get a nurse. I don't think this is right. It doesn't feel right. So the nurse came, and she was like, let me go get Kay. So Kay came in and was like, let me check you, honey. So she checked me, and at this point, my mom and my aunt had just left to go get something to eat. And she was like, don't you have that baby until I come up here. I was like, Mom, it's not going to be much longer. Because I was at 7 centimeters when I had the epidural. So I went from 7 centimeters to 10 centimeters in 45 minutes. Like, boom, let's go. So, Billy's mom ran to the elevator and she was like, she's ready to push, she's ready to push. And as soon as my midwife was like, it's time to have a baby, Billy was sitting right next to me and he's like, already? Yes, already. So my mom comes in, so I'm laying in the bed. I have Billy in this ear, I have Billy's mom, and I have my mom holding my leg up. And on this side, I had my Aunt Kanina holding my leg up, and I had my nurse Terry at my other ear. So it was 6:58 when I started pushing. I had no practice pushes, none. She's like, do you want to practice? And I was like, no, let's go. So here I am. I'm pushing, and you know how, like, usually they, like, say push for 10 seconds and then rest, and then push for 10 seconds and then rest? No. That's not how I did it. I pushed I pushed, stopped, like, I didn't go with any of my, well, I went with, like, some of my contractions, but I just pushed, and I pushed, and I couldn't feel a thing, so I couldn't, like, really tell if I was getting anywhere, and finally, like, my doctor was like, she's crowning, and she's like, do I feel the hair? So I felt, and I was like, and she's like, yeah, your baby has a lot of hair. You couldn't tell that now because she lost it all. So she's like, push a little bit so you get the head up. So I pushed. I didn't really feel anything until until she started crowning. And then it was like a little burn. It wasn't bad. And then she's like, okay, hold on a second, we have to, I don't remember what they were doing. I was so caught up in getting this baby on me. And she's like, I hope you don't mind, but I'm giving your baby a mohawk. I was like, cool, you know? So, she's like, oh, ready? So I started pushing again. And it took me, like, no time to get her shoulders, like, get past her shoulders. And then it was just all, like, it was easy, obviously, from there. She put her on my chest, and that was that. Billy cut the cord, they cleaned her up. Well, they were cleaning her up and measuring her, and they were, you know, pushing on, they were getting the placenta on me and pushing all the excess blood and everything on me. And Billy is horrible with blood. He's horrible with needles. Like, he got a mono test done like a year ago, and he passed out from getting his blood drawn. So he like went through the whole thing, like doing so well, and and like as soon as they were like pushing on me to get everything out, he like looked at me real quick and looked back, and in my mind, I remember I was like, oh no. And the next thing I know, I don't even like see him move or anything. Like the next thing I know, I look over and he's sitting in the chair next to me, white as a ghost, like literally like my sweatshirt, white. And I was like, get in the bathroom, go in the bathroom. So he hauls ass in the bathroom, and I was like, Mom, you need to get Lisa, which is Billy's mom. And Lisa went in there, and I guess he was pale, he was sweating, like he had cold sweats, he was dry heaving, and you have to give him props. I mean, like, he went through the whole birth of his child and didn't do anything, and then he saw one of the grossest parts. So if I didn't like the whole thing happening with me, so I give him so much, like, he did amazing, and I'm very proud of him. She went back. She was right next to me, like, Mommy. But she went back. So, that's about it. She weighed 7 pounds, 12 ounces. She was 20 and a half inches long, I think. I don't know, it's been 6 months, I don't remember. 20 and a half inches long. And she was perfect. Like, she looked so much like Billy, and she was perfect. And I fell in love, and it's something that'll never end. I mean, how can you not love that? First night was great. Well, at first she was formula fed, because I didn't exactly know anything about breastfeeding. Like, a lot of people in my family didn't breastfeed, so I didn't really know a lot about it. But I noticed when I came home that she wasn't interested in bottle feeding. She drank, like, they had those little 2-ounce bottles. She drank like an ounce and fall asleep, and she wouldn't wake back up. So I decided to see what she would do on, the breast. And like, some babies have trouble latching on, but Madison, like, was a pro. Like, she's done this before. She was just like, boom, and you couldn't get her off to save your life. If Madison could, she'd probably stay on the boob all day, every day, if I didn't make her get off. She was exclusively breastfed till she was 5 months old, and that's when she started 2 weeks on rice cereal, 2 weeks on oatmeal, and now she's eating baby food. Her favorite fruit is peaches. Like, she could eat. She's a sitter now, so she can eat a whole big jar, like this big, of